So we continue. I will give some information about deduction and induction, page 07, 97, 91, depending on the edition. In fact, in induction, we start from the sensible order to go to the intelligible order.
This one? What's wrong with my wife?
That is induction. Induction from sensible order to intelligible order. Deduction is the contrary. We start from the intelligible order to the sensible order. So we start from here experience to idea, to law, to principle. Here we start from principle to application in the world, in the sensible world. But by curiosity, the second paragraph, that induction or logic is studied in the organum, the organon or organ, is the book written by Aristotle about logic. I go now to B at the bottom of the page. In fact,
Where
what
is
the
that, Father? What page are you on?
Oh, we don't have.
induction.
We don't have it.
Oh, that's what
That's the one he's printing, right?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
On that page here.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Yes, we have that.
You do?
You don't have it?
This one?
This one?
No, no, not this
We have
one.
these two.
That's all we have.
Oh, you have no other, oh, excuse me. You have no other page of the, you don't have the text. It is in the library, you cannot find it.
Can they tell them to get the?
Can you go?
Yes.
Okay. So what is the condition to have a good induction is to have a sufficient number of experiences, sufficient enumeration. So we can have a complete induction and incomplete. For example, if I give an examination to every student, I can have a complete induction. That means I can know the result for each one. I can conclude average, for example. But if I have, the poll, on the poll, on the 300 million people, they will call maybe 20,000 people. And from that, they will deduce that the president is popular or not. That is an incomplete induction. So what is the principle underlying that? That it must be a sufficient number, that is the problem. How induction is sufficient? How many experimentations we have to do, So that, because in induction, we cannot cover every case. Because we not cover every case, what will happen? Maybe some cases we don't cover, they infirm, they deny what we affirm. But we don't do that. That is, so it is the number we call the law of the great number. They play on at random. At random they arrive at approximately, but sometimes it's not accurate. You have that happened in Canada last election in Quebec. The third party was completely crushed before the election, and in fact it was almost all the seats at the night of the election. It was a complete rejection of all the polls. All the polls were erroneous. The same in Scotland. So it is based on probability. It is probable. We cannot, in fact, we cannot arrive to an absolute certitude. Demonstration, we arrive at absolute certitude, but in induction, there is always part for error. In fact, in modern science, now when a scientist gives a result, normally they give plus or minus. The margin of error, the margin of error. Before they say we can do everything, absolutely no, that is impossible. And scientists today are much more humble than the 19th century when they pretended to know everything, to arrive to absolute knowledge. absolutely impossible. If I had lived at that time, I would be able to ask them, do you know exactly what your wife think about you? Because you cannot know the thought of another, the love of another. You don't know. Thank you. So I will give that to you. So they are the two. And the third one I gave you goes together. That go together here.
Okay.
And that also. Is to complete what you have now. To complete, to help you.
You sit in the front, you get it?
Oh, I only made one copy. You want 80 copies?
No,
I just made one copy.
no, for the class.
I don't make copies, please.
I'll send it,
Ah,
I'll send it tomorrow.
okay, yeah.
I thought you wanted one. I'm sorry.
No, I thought it was because.
You guys are good. Okay. 8 copies.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff, for sharing. I tried.
In fact, the experimentation are the domain of physical science study. Deduction is for mathematics and philosophy. The rest is based on experimentation. So sciences, the starting point is induction. Induction. Now, I hope we will find the picture because you need the text in front of you. I will try to develop the two kind of way we think because they have consequences, and it is important that we have a kind of synthesis of what is demonstration and what is induction. Because many times during your studies, they will use some expression, another expression. You must know that all those things are in the same. For example, all the things concerning induction, all the things concerning deduction.
I didn't find Jim, but I found their copies.
Ah, excellent. You know, where they were.
They were in the shelf in the box.
Yeah, that's it.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you. What men will do without women?
Oh, yeah. We'd be lost.
Oh, this is the wife of
Huh?
Leanne.
Oh, I got my name.
Oh, the name of that.
Oh, it's good.
Okay, Kim Thompson.
Right. Yeah, I got one.
People, Jeffrey, and his wife.
I got right up.
Both, give me that. You? I did not know.
There we go. The very back is the. Chris Carroll. Carroll.
Maybe, L-Y? Oh, okay, now.
You guys don't mind if we start all over now, do you?
Yeah.
Jeff, you can go home.
Okay, go to page, I don't know what page it is. Yes, page 10 and 11. 10 and 11. 10 and 11 are the synthesis of page 9 to 12. So 9 and 10 and 12. So we have 10 and 11, you have 9 and 12. So that is the chart, that is the text corresponding to the chart. Okay? It is inclusive. It is inclusive. Okay? So this demonstration, that's everyone of that. So we have to use both in front of you. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay?
Got it.
Bon, first demonstration we call deduction. rational demonstration. Rational demonstration, because the other is experimental demonstration. And I give you another page also called deduction and induction. So you can have the three in front of you. So you can, in fact, that deduction and induction is less developed, but it is more easy to see all the comparisons. Okay? So page 10, rational demonstration. We start from the essence of a thing. With the essence, what is the thing? The whatness? Or the nature of a thing. We start from that. And we go to the property, to the necessary property. Properties. For example, we are intelligent. From intelligence, we intellect. We go to the capacity of laughing, of reading, etc., of taking decision. So that is, man is free because he is rational. So we have man. Man is free. And the middle term, the bridge, rationality. Because man is rational, man is free. Every rational being is free. Man is rational, man is free. Okay? So here, because he is intelligent, man can speak. Or because a triangle has three angles and three sides, it has 180 degrees. So that is a property of triangle, flowing from. That is deduction. Mathematics are based on deduction. Deduction. Philosophy, a part of philosophy is based on deduction, a part. Not everything. Now, that kind of demonstration is called a priori. That means before experimentation. Before, a priori. Prior is before, the one in front of the other. A priori demonstration is a legitimate argument from evident a priori premises, or if you want, universal principle, general principle, in the major, from something prior to in nature or in time to the being in the conclusion. For example, the demonstration from the cause to the effect. Fire, burning, to burn. From the spirituality of the soul, human soul, to its immortality. Because the soul is spiritual, is not composed. What is not composed is not, it will not be destroyed. Therefore, the soul is immortal, etc. We start from the cause, from the nature, from the essence of a thing, and we try to understand what is that thing. What is that? Okay? We call that, we say, propter quid demonstration. Propter quid here means the proper cause. The proper cause. I read, as long as the subject and the attribute are convertible. Do you have that in your copy? Mm-hmm. Subject and attribute are convertible. There is proper quid demonstration. That means when we can take the subject and invert with the predicate without changing the thing, we have proper quid. Example. Man is a rational animal. Rational animal is man. But three-sided and three-angled figure is a triangle. A triangle is a three-sided and three-angled figure, God is infinitely perfect being. And the infinitely perfect being is God. That means the subject can be the predicate and predicate the subject.
So that's like conversion?
Convertible, yes.
Convert.
Convertible. They can be change without changing the meaning. In fact, there is a kind of identity between them. Okay? We call that demonstration analytic. Why? Because we start from the nature of the thing to find its property. If I define man, I say, okay, John is intelligent. John is an animal. John is man. Because John is man, John is... so I find in the nature of John the property of John. So John is an animal. Do I add something to anything to John? No, he is an animal. John is rational. Do I add something? No. So that kind of demonstration is called analytic. In fact, we analyze what is man. When I say man is an animal, a rational animal, I add nothing. I discover what it is already in man. What I say a triangle is a triangle and three-side figure. I add nothing. It is only I analyze the content of. No? I add nothing. When we analyze the idea of triangle, etc., okay? When we reflect on the idea of God, we discover in that idea that God is an infinitely perfect being. We add nothing to God. But when I think about God, I cannot think about God without thinking about all the perfection. Because he is lacking one perfection is not God. He must be totally, absolutely perfect. I am. There is no lack. We can add nothing, we can suppress nothing. Okay? So, the predicate adds nothing to the subject, but only expresses. We discover or put into evidence ideas which are already contained in the essence of the nature of the subject. In fact, it is a distinction of reasoned, what we studied before, you remember? It is a distinction of reasoned, because there is no real distinction between God and His mercy, between God and His power. But that distinction is virtual, and it has a foundation in the reality. If I say, for example, God is kind, is infinitely good, I have a foundation because persons are good, are kind. And they must, and we see in theology, philosophy of God, that we cannot have attribute perfection without receiving that from God. So God must have all the perfection. He must be, not have, he must be. He is the perfection. We have the perfection. Okay? So it is only analytical. In that part of theology we study, the attribute of God is analytical demonstration. We analyze who is God. We try to understand the richness of God. Finally, the last column, when we affirm a subject, we must use a middle term. Middle term. So the middle term is a cause of the attribute. For example, here, rationality is the cause of freedom. Man is able to laugh because he's intelligent. Intelligent is the cause of his capacity of laughing. Very interesting. The cause is, the middle term is the cause of the attribute. In fact, the middle term is the reason why. The predicate is linked with the subject. And here it is more than linked, it is the cause of the predicate. Okay. Now I go to the second demonstration. The second demonstration is demonstration we call induction. All those things are the tools we use to exercise our way of thinking. In fact, it has material logic here. So, induction, we call that experimental demonstration. The first was rational demonstration, not experimental, because that demonstration starts from experiences. No? It is a demonstration from the effect given through experience, effect known, given through experience, and we try to go to find a cause. To find a cause. In the classical example, the proof of the existence of God, we start from sense experience. So we go to the cause in the conclusion. So from the order in the universe, for example, we go to the existence of God. From the finality in the universe, we go to the existence of God. A detective does that. He sees a dead body, and from that he tries to find a cause of that dead body, why the body is here. And that demonstration is called a posteriori. Posterior means after. So it is after experience. A priori, before experience. A posteriori, after. It is a legitimate argument from evident a posteriori promises, that is, from promises better known than the conclusion. And we know through experience. In fact, that is the reasoning we start from known to unknown. True, though the premises are effect posterior in being and in time to the cause in the conclusion. So we have creation, we are searching for a cause of creation. We have order in the world, we are searching for the order. You enter, you visit a mansion and you see a beautiful garden with all trees are in line, flowers are organized. Will you see that is random? No, it is intelligent. So we start from the effect and we search for an intelligent cause. But we don't know it immediately. You have to demonstrate, to search for. Okay? So the demonstration of the existence of God from order and finality. From the fact that John won many times when he played golf, we conclude that John is a good golf player. It is from experiences that I affirm that God is John. John is a good golfer. I cannot say a priori, yes, he's a good golfer. That guy, he's a good pianist. I know he's a good pianist when he plays. I know he's a good golfer when he is playing golf. We start from experience. And that, we call that quia demonstration. Quia, it is also because. But because introduce the middle term is the central, it is the bridge. In the demonstration, for example, creation, quia, in demonstration quia, in the case of here, that demonstration, the middle term is not the proper cause of the attribute. That's the difference. In the first case, for example, men laugh because he is intelligent. So the middle term, intelligent, is the cause of the fact we laugh. Here, John is a good golfer, and why? Because he won many tournaments, he won many medals, many trophies. So is the fact he won many trophies, many tournaments, that the cause of the good golfer? No, the contrary. The predicate is the cause of the middle term. It is because he's a good golfer that he won. And then he won because he's a good golfer. We cannot say he won, the fact he won made him a good golfer, of course. But we cannot say the middle term is the cause of the fact he is good, but is the effect, the result of that, you know. So John is courageous. Courageous adds some, excuse me, in the effect is not adequate or convertible with the cause. The demonstration is knowledge of the existence of the cause of some of its conditions. For example, if I cannot say a good golfer is John. John is a good golfer. There is no conversion. We cannot convert the subject and the predicate. Because it is only something, it is not in the nature of the subject, you know. Okay? It is added to the subject. It is what we say just after. Huh? I go to the example. God is known from his creation, huh? But the created work, the effects, remember if P, then Q. So, then Q. Creation, created work, effect. Okay? If God exists, he created the world. Okay? Then he created the world. The world is created. Can I say that God exists? Maybe the world was created by matter. It is the theory of materialists. No? The matter is eternal. It was the theory of Plato and Aristotle. The Greek never thought the world was created. It was exist forever. So it is a possibility that the world was created by God. So we have to prove that. That means we have to eliminate all the other possibilities and to find the right possibility. So we cannot conclude from Q to P. We don't know. How? You know, that proof is not the other is, we have no choice. It is necessary inference. Huh? But here, the word is there, the dead body is there, is here, and the detective is searching for many possibilities. And he will eliminate, finally he will find one, you say, you did that. But that takes a long time. For God it's the same. We must be prudent. Huh? The proof of St. Thomas doesn't. We have to be prudent. They are not absolute. They are not absolute. We cannot say because the world exists, God exists. We cannot say that. If you do that, it's a sophism. It is a fallacy. Because you cannot start from the effect to know directly the cause. Because in that case, the effect is not causing the cause, if you want. If I know the cause, I know the effect. But if I know the effect, I cannot know necessarily the cause. When somebody is sick, it can have many causes. Your child has fever, many reasons for that. You have to discover what is you have to make analysis, diagnosis, you have to examine, etc. Finally, you find something. And sometimes that takes a long time. So sometimes we must be prudent because we say, the proof of St. Thomas, they are only they are not absolute. Huh? They are not absolute. Because if they were absolute, everybody will believe in God. Because every man is intelligent. It's not obvious that God exists. It's not obvious. You have to reason, to use our reason. I surprise you. Huh? And you have to look at all the possibilities. Someone, they say it's at random. Other, it's matter engender matter. Matter is eternal, was never created. And you have to prove that matter did not exist all the time. You have to prove that contingent need a necessary being, etc. It is what we do in the proof of St. Thomas. But we cannot say that directly we arrive to the conclusion from the effect. Huh? Okay? For example, I can receive a beautiful paper. I can receive that. It can be done by the student, it can be done by another also. Some students in many universities, they live only with that. Huh? They are paid and they make the paper of others. So how I can know? I ask the student some question about, and I know if he did or not. Huh? Especially today with the computer, we cannot see the handwriting. Before we can see, but not now. Is the reason why I was teaching in primary school. We are obliged every 2 weeks to give a redaction to children for the 4th grade to the 9th grade. Every 2 weeks. 1 week was redaction, 1 week was analysis of text. Imagine a little boy. And I try to do that all the time in my class on Friday morning. Why? Because I know that generous mother, they want their child have the best note, and they did the job for him. So when they do that in front of me, I was sure they did that. So from the effect, we cannot know. We cannot know. Okay? Synthetic demonstration. In fact, we add something. When I say John is a good golfer, I add to John something which is not in the essence of John. In that kind of demonstration, the predicate adds something. John is courageous. Something new to the essence of John, but it is accidental. John is not courageous by essence. It is not in the essence of John to be courageous. It's something accidental that in that proposition we make a synthesis between the subject and the predicate. So I say, if I say, Mary is the mother of John, is a mother. It's not in the essence of Mary to be a mother. It is something added that needs synthetic judgment. I add something, okay? And I can do that only through experience. I cannot know a priori that Louise or Mariette is a mother when she is born. Is a father. We cannot know, except God or a prophet. Okay? So now, the next column, the middle term is an effect of the attribute. I saw that. The middle term is an effect. He won the medal because he was a good golfer. In the other case, it's contrary. We are intelligent. We laugh because we are intelligent. The middle term causes the predicate. Here, the middle term does not cause. On the contrary, it is the predicate that allows and confirm the affirmation of the middle term. Okay? God is known from his creation. The middle term, the effect, the middle term creation is an effect, not a cause. God is creator. That is an effect and not a cause. The fact I see creation, I cannot affirm that God is. I cannot start from Q to go to P. No? Go to P. I can go from non-Q to non-P. I can go from P to Q. I cannot go from non-P to non-Q. You saw that, remember? So we ponens and tollens. Ponens and tollens. We know the cause from the effect, but not in the direct way. I mean, we cannot start from the effect to the cause. In fact, we start from, but there is many possibility of causes. Okay. So that explanation I gave you corresponds to page 10 and 11. 9 and 11. Yes.
In that example you gave there, God is known for his creation. What is the predicate? The predicate is known?
God is. Okay.
God is the subject, so how can creation be the middle term? What is
God exists. Oh, God is creator. God is creator. Why? Because there is a word we call creation, another world. Effect. The effect is the world, the universe, if you want, universe. Okay? So the predicate creator is attributed to God. Why? Because after some reflection, I discovered that creation depends on. So, you know, the predicate, you see, the predicate is not the cause. It is, if you want, I can affirm God is creator. The creation is not the cause of the creator, but the creator is the cause of the creation. Look at the other here. the capacity of laughing is the effect of the middle term. The middle term is really the cause of the predicate. I have laughed because I am intelligent. Okay? That is deduction. Induction, God is creator. I know that because of the existence of the universe. But I cannot say the existence of the universe made God creator. No. It is the fact he is creator that the universe exists. Like John here, is a good golfer because he won. So the fact he's a good golfer was the cause of the fact he had many victories and many trophies and many medals. You know, in deduction, the middle term is the cause of the predicate. In induction, the predicate is the cause, if you want, is the contrary of the middle term. Is the cause of the middle term. Let us take another example. Cat, mouse, hunter. How I can say that cat are mouse hunter? What is the middle term to affirm that? Because they catch. They catch mice. Catch mice. Because they catch mice, I can say cats are mouse hunters. So here is the catching of mice that make the cat a mouse hunter. Is the contrary. Is this the fact that the cat is a mouse hunter, then it catches mice. It is the difference. Here, in the deduction, the middle term is the cause. In induction, the middle term is not the cause. On the contrary, I will say it's the effect of the predicate. Okay? Now I go to I have to find my text there somewhere. Oh. Page 12 or 108 at the bottom of the page, number 12.4. Well, tonight we apply that to cats and to mice and to dogs and to John, but in another occasion we apply that to some principle very important. So that it's important to know the two kinds of demonstration. Not to know by heart, but to understand. To understand. Okay? So another division, the direct demonstration is called ostensive. In fact, it is, we call syllogism. It is a direct demonstration. Okay? In a formal way. It is a demonstration which positively demonstrates a thing from true and necessary principle. But that is syllogism. But there is also, we call an indirect demonstration. What is that? It is, we call sometimes ad absurdum, or impossible. We prove that if we we accept the contradiction, it is impossible. By absurd, it is absurd. You know? For example, the human soul is immortal because otherwise God will not be just. You know? So that is inspired by Kant. Kant, you know, is we call the moral argument of Kant. Kant says God exists because there must be justice, and there is no justice on earth. There must be a justifier, and that is God. That is the argument of Kant. So that is an indirect demonstration. That means if God does not exist, then it is absurd to live on earth, because as we see in the song, the wicked are prosperous and the just are suffering. Is that in the song? The just complain, hey, God, how is it possible that the rich are prosperous, they are, and we suffer so much. Even today, people, good Christians are massacred, are killed, are tortured, and the gangsters, they are prosperous, they have a beautiful car, etc. Okay. Bon. Now, number 13, science, a word about science. In fact, what is the goal of a demonstration? The goal of demonstration is to arrive to know something, with certitude, to arrive to the truth, to know. But to know is science. What is the word sciere in Latin? Scio, scien, means I know, to know, knowledge. Scientia means knowledge. So you have that number 13, science, page 13. Okay? Science is the result of demonstration. In fact, when we demonstrate, we arrive to a conclusion, and that conclusion is science, is knowledge. We acquire a new knowledge. So, science has two meanings. The first meaning of science is the act of knowing, of knowledge. The act of knowledge, or the habit of knowing. For example, you are studying philosophy. So first you are knowing something, acquiring some knowledge. That is science. But also you are acquiring a way of thinking which is different from literature, which is different from chemistry, that is proper to philosophy. In fact, I insisted that we have logic because it is the best preparation for the rest. You do play card now, you have a big hill of card. So a scientist is someone who knows something and who have the habit of searching for knowing. So it is a gift of the Holy Spirit, science, no? It is one of the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. Not only I know something, but I have the habit of knowing, of reasoning correctly. Science. Science also, by the fact you acquire some new knowledge, you accumulate that knowledge, and that body of knowledge, that accumulation of knowledge, it is also called science. So we say, I studied physics. The physics is the sum and the summa, the sum of all the thing known by scientists through ages. That is the content, we call that science. Science is the act of knowledge, and science is also the habit of studying, of knowing. Okay? So the word science is not, it is not univocal. It has different meaning. The act of knowledge, science, the habit of knowledge, and the content of what we know. All that is science. Okay? We'll now give a definition. Universal, demonstrated, organized knowledge. Organized knowledge. Your grandfather knew how to cultivate the soil, how to take care of animals, but he knows that not in the organized knowledge. To do that, we must become an agronomist. An agronomist knows those laws. Okay? So division now, we study. We saw that speculative knowledge and practical knowledge. Speculum, it is to reflect, a mirror in Latin. So knowledge obtained through reflection, speculative, speculum. Yeah, that's in doctor, speculum. And speculum is a mirror. So the speculative, it is the reflective. Because when you look at the mirror, what do? You reflect. Someone, they reflect only in front of a mirror. You have difficulty to reflect on front of a paper, but they reflect on the front of the mirror. Reflective, speculative. And the other is practical, practice. Praxis in Greek, to do something concrete. So So speculative, in fact, what is the goal? It is the end. It is purely to know, pure knowledge. We study first the law of gravity for the law of gravity. We study the law of calorimetry for the law of calorimetry. We study in physics, we study to understand the law themselves, to acquire the knowledge of. In fact, a class of physics is not a class of technology. A class of technology implies a class of physics. But a class of physics does not imply a class of technology. You understand? Huh? That means in physics we study the knowledge for the knowledge. Even if we will never become a technician, you study the phenomenon to understand the reality. For example, evaporation, refraction, light, etc. So we want to know how to know. But stay practical, it is to apply the knowledge. It is to doing application. We apply the knowledge. Not only we know the knowledge, we apply the knowledge to the reality. So the first is, I will say, the contemplation of the truth. We want to attain the truth. To understand the world, to understand the cosmos, to understand the universe. Here we want to do something useful or beautiful. Practical. Practice. Well, you study ethics. You study ethics to understand, as we will do the second part of the class, and understand the human act, speculative knowledge. And after that, on bioethics, you apply that. Social ethics, you apply that to the society, to medical problems, you know. Okay? Now the object, number 3 at the bottom, of any speculative must be to fulfill 2 conditions. First, it must have prior principle. In fact, every science must obey first the first principle, and also to have some principle proper to that science. And many times those principles are taken, as we saw that before, from another science. For example, astronomy depends on mathematics and depends on physics also. And all the optic, all the part of physics we call optics. So there is a dependence of first principle. And second, a prior principle. Secondly, must have parts of attribute that belong to it essentially. That means something which is proper to that science. For example, you study biology, but you study man not the same way as we study man in philosophy of man. We study man, but not at the same proper point of view, standpoint. In fact, the majority of sciences are the practical application. Even mathematics has a practical application, because mathematics, they are almost everywhere. No? You cannot study sociology, you cannot study physics, astronomy. We need mathematics. We need mathematics. Even when you are a priest, you know mathematics. You need mathematics as a priest, as a deacon, because you have to appreciate the collection on Sunday. Okay. Next page. Material and formal object of science. So, material object, it is all human science have their origin in the sense knowledge, and the object is the same material object. In fact, the universe, matter, everything. Material is the object of science, cosmos. Cosmos, but is not in my, but is around me, my environment. In fact, my environment is huge. My environment goes up to the galaxies. Yes, it's my environment. Okay? Philosophy, theology, psychology, etc. You study them, but they have in common. That is the material. But the formal aspect is not the same for every science. Every science can study the same object, but at a different point of view. Different point of view. So, formal object. Now, differentiation of the sciences come from the different ways of demonstrating properties of their object. All science studying men study under the specific aspect, a formal aspect. That is not difficult to understand. I go just after that. At the back. Middle terms of any demonstration and definition are grasped intellectually by a type of the abstraction characteristic for each science. So it is important now to study the 3 degrees of abstraction. You know, tonight we learn a lot of concepts that will be used many times. Abstraction, the degree of abstraction. So sometimes, you know, it is the same when we study mathematics. We don't realize the importance because maybe in 2-5 years we'll be a technician, an engineer, and we must know mathematics, you know. So it's the same now. Okay? The degrees, first degree of abstraction. Well, I gave you here the text, and I have also that page here, degree of abstraction. So you can have that under your eyes if it is possible. So you can, and also I have the same thing in the pages I gave you just at the beginning of the class. So you have the 3. In fact, the degree of abstraction, they are in 2 places, at the beginning of the chapter, at the end. Now I have used the end, page 14. First degree of abstraction is the degree of physics, physical sciences. Here you have, look at the graphic here. You have the degree of abstraction, the first degree. Well, it is abstraction of a whole, abstraction of totality. That means from many things we arrive to a concept, and that concept is detached from the individual, from individuality. Is detached from quantified matter, from matter. In fact, excuse me, individual matter, individual. Well, suppose I want to have the concept of a cat. So I can have cat from many countries. I can visit all the cats on earth.